Let's do it. Let's do it. We got this movie, Lifetime type movie, or a Lifetime movie. It's called Pretty Hurts. It's about 88 minutes long. It is directed by Brian Hertzinger. It was released in 2025, which is cool. Current movie. It is starring Sarah Bourne as Lauren, also Haley Duff as Julie, which is playing Lauren's mom. Casey Barker as Ray, which is playing Lauren's best friend. Now this movie starts off like a lot of these movies with like a flash forward to something that looks like the climax of the story. And so it flashed forward to someone getting hauled off into an ambulance and everybody's like, screaming and worried about the person, and that's all they show. And then they go back to the current time and you hit a little grooving music. You see these two best friends, they're working at this coffee shop, Lauren and Ray, and they're just, having a good time like teenage girls. I think they're seniors in high school, pretty much. And they're talking about what they're going to do for college and all that. And Lauren, she wants to go to this prestigious college called Vanderton. It just sounds like money, huh? Vanderton, because she wants to be a doctor. In order for her to go to that school, it's very expensive. First of all, she's trying to get accepted into the school. She gets an acceptance letter, so she's all excited. She gets accepted into the school. She celebrates with her parents and all that stuff, and everybody's happy. But later on at night, she hears her parents talking like, damn, I'm happy she got in, but we really can't afford this. What are we going to do? The mom and dad, they're like, we're going to figure it out. They're trying to figure it out. She overhears this and she's like kind of down, like, okay, what am I going to do? This is my dream to go to the school. And so the next day or whatever, her mom realizes that something's wrong. So she talks to her and says, what's wrong, babe? And she's like, well, I overheard you and dad talking that y'all can't afford to send me to school. And I've been doing my scholarships and my grant applications, but it's really not enough. I don't know what I'm going to do and all this stuff. And so she's down and sad about the whole thing. And so she ended up running into one of her mom's old friends. Her mom's old friends used to do pageants together. They used to do these competitions. And so she gets the idea to look up the most current pageant going on, and she finds out that the winner gets like 50 grand. And she's like, okay, this is something I can do. My mom used to do it. I can get into this and I can at least get into the top 3 and win some money. She brings the idea to her mom, and her mom's like, babe, you have no idea how crazy these competitions are, how mean these women can be, how competitive it is, and how much work goes into it. Trust me, you're not about that life. And she's like, no, mom, I want to do it. I want to do it. Her mom kind of looks at it as a way for them to kind of spend time together because she knows that she's about to go to college soon. So she's like, okay, let's spend the time together. Let's figure it out. I'll at least let you try it out so you can see if you like it or not. They do the research. They go to the orientation, and the mom runs into old friends and all that stuff. And actually, the mom's old friend, her daughter, is one of Lauren's old childhood friends. Her name's Nora. She's there, so she's kind of like showing her the ropes and all that stuff and telling her, how difficult these girls can be and how rough it is in these competitions. So everybody's kind of warning her that, hey, this ain't all sweet. This is tough stuff you get into here. Are you sure you're about that life? So she starts meeting everybody. She meets the little girls that you can tell they're going to be mean girls and all that stuff. And her friend Nora, she's, wanting her, telling her all the different types of personality types. And you got to watch this, don't do that. And once they find out that you're new, once they find out that your mom used to be a pageant winner, they're going to be on you. They're going to be trying to get at you and trying to tear you down. So it's going to be rough. And so she gets a little hint of the mean girls, and then also the pageant owner, she's pretty tough too. I think her name is Miss Brooks. And her grandson, he's like one of the organizers. He's one of the photographers. He's around there bossing the girls around, being pretty inappropriate with underage girls, just kind of doing a lot of sexual innuendos and stuff like that. It's a little, it's an adult setting for kids. It's very competitive, very strange, but they all know that they're there to win. So they kind of deal with certain levels of inappropriate things to a degree, as long as it doesn't get out of hand, as far as we know. After they leave the orientation or the registration, the mom talks to Lauren and she's like, hey, are you sure you want to do this? It's going to be tough. And she's like, yeah, I want to do it. I think I can do it. I really believe in myself, and this is a great way to make the money. And the mom's like, okay, I'll be your coach. It's going to take a lot of work. You're going to miss out on some things with your friends, and you're going to have to lock in on this if you want to win, because it takes all your energy and a lot of your time. And so she's sitting with her friends at one point, and she's letting them know what's going on, and she's saying that she's going to be doing this. So immediately her friends know that they're not going to be spending as much time together. There was, I think, her and her best friend Ray, they were on the prom committee, and now that she can't be on the prom committee anymore because she just don't have the time. And then this I don't know if she's a teacher, somebody that works at the school, but she found a job for Lauren that she wanted. It was like a lab assistant job, and she really wanted it. And she came to her and said, hey, this job is available if you want it. She said, damn, I can't do it because now I have another commitment. She's disappointed, but she decides to go and not do the job. And the lady's like, okay. And her best friend is like, really? And she's like, yeah. So she's like, okay, I'm going to do this pageant thing because it's the best way to get this money. And she has no idea what she's getting herself into. And so the next day she's back at practice with all of the girls at the pageant competition. And she's explaining that she's gonna be talking about a charity as far as with her I guess her work to a charity or something like that. I'm not exactly sure how pageants go, but she's representing or sponsoring or talking about a charity. And to come to find out, she has some kind of condition. That's why she even know about the charity. She has some kind of condition called cryomyopathy. So she was, I guess, a sick child. And I did hear them earlier, her parents talk about her medical bills, but they didn't really go into it. So apparently she has some kind of health issues, but it doesn't seem to be affecting her at this point. I don't know if it's something chronic or something that's cured. I have no idea, but apparently she has some medical issues as a kid. And she seems to be healthy now, but that's the charity that she chooses to go with. So at that point, she gets her first dose of the mean girl activity. They're taking her stuff, they're playing with her, they're talking behind her back, and her friend Nora's like, I told you, girl, these girls are mean. And then her friend Nora, she's real calm and cool and mature, but she said when she gets stressed out, she actually pulls a little bit of her hair out the back of her head, like just a few strands, you yank it out and it calms her down. It's almost like when I've heard about stuff like people cutting themselves and stuff like that. I guess it helps soothe the nerves. I have no idea how that works, but that's what her friend does to get through the stress. So this is not a healthy environment for young ladies if they're pulling their own hair out. If it's that much competition, it's already rearing up to be a lesson-driven story about these competitions and how damaging they can be psychologically for young people. And at one point she goes to take some pictures, and the photographer, which is the grandson of the owner of the pageant, he's just being a little too sexual with her. He's using different languages that sounds a little inappropriate for how you should be talking to an underage girl. It's just part of the atmosphere. Everybody kind of goes along with it, but it's very inappropriate. And she kind of goes along with it because nothing really happens, but he's like all in her face, putting her lipstick on for her. It's just kind of weird. It's a weird little energy going on around there. And so the next day, she brings her dress that she's going to be using for some part of the competition. And the owner, Miss Brooks, she's like this snooty, very well put together, poised, older lady. She's like I guess a lifetime beauty person or whatever. I don't know what this stuff is called. This is out of my school of thought. She sees the dress that Lauren is going to use, and she's like, nah, that dress looks a little old fashioned. You need to have something that's a little more revealing, something that's showing a little more skin. And so you're seeing that everything about this competition is all physical, which we understand that it's a beauty contest, but it's all about making these younger girls into like sex symbols. So it's off from the beginning. And at another point, she's late to one of her rehearsals where they're doing a dancing. And the dance instructor, he's hardcore too. He's on it, and she's late, and she's like saying, "Oh, I'm sorry for being late." And he said, "I don't want to hear I'm sorry. I just want you to be on time." And he walks up to her and he plucks her on her forehead. Now that was funny. I was like, "Damn, is that considered abuse, assault?" And I guess it is. You know, you can't hit anybody. But in that environment, there's so much competition. Nobody wants to rock the boat. Everybody wants to be on everybody's good side. So she just deals with getting plucked in the forehead. I'm gonna start doing that to people that get on my nerves. So anyway, and so at the end of that day, the mean girls, they decided, they was talking behind her back like crazy, by the way. As expected, like Nora said, it's gonna happen. And they end up pranking her. They end up getting this photo with her and the photographer guy. They looked like they were about to kiss. It was Photoshopped pretty much. And they posted all over the dressing room, and she's all upset and all that stuff. And she's like, she tells Nora, I'm not coming back. She rips out some of her hair just like Nora. She becomes like a hair ripper just like Nora. So she then took on that habit just like that. That was weird. It's like, okay. So she goes home all upset. And so she calls the lady that had offered her the job. And the lady says, oh, I'm sorry, babe. The job is gone. So she's like, damn, I'm so disappointed. And so at that point, I believe Nora comes to her house. Nora's mom's at the house visiting. She comes to her room and she said, hey, I have your dress. And she was like, well, I can't use this dress because Miss Brooks said it's not good enough. Or she said she was dropping. I'm not sure exactly what the conversation was, but Nora was like, hey, you can use my backup dress. I was kind of concerned about Nora, like if she's going to turn on her, but nah, she was pretty much having her back the entire time. She was like, nah, we are like childhood friends. I know we hadn't seen each other in years, but I got your back. And so she gives her her backup dress. At that point, she couldn't get that job, so she decided to stay in the competition, despite all of the mean girl activity that's going on. And now she's very busy at this point, and her best friend Ray, she's very disappointed because she keeps blowing her off. They work together, but she keeps asking her to cover her shifts because she can't make it. She's forgetting things. She's just screwing up as a best friend, and so she's very upset with her. And so they were having problems, but they're still making it work as a friendship. But her best friend Ray is like, hey, get it together. You need to stop making promises. You need to communicate better. You're being a terrible friend right now because of this pageant. But it is stressful. She's still in school. She's trying to make the grades. She's worried about grants and scholarships. And then she's entered into this new world that she's never been a part of. And it's just a lot going on. So her friend is being understanding to a degree. They're at the rehearsal one time, and Miss Brooks, the owner of the pageant, she comes out, she says, hey, have some news. One of our judges is not going to be able to make the competition, so we have a replacement judge. He's been judging for years. His name is Roger Hammond. And when he comes out, they all clapping, but Nora, she's sitting there like, she's nervous. She looks like she's grabbing Lauren's hand, like, oh my God, I can't believe this guy is here. And immediately you get like a very, very uncomfortable feeling like, damn, what happened to this girl with this older guy? This guy got to be in his 60s. And she's like, what, 17, 18? She's a senior in high school. So when did he do something to this girl to have her this upset? And what did he do? They didn't go into details, but obviously it's something sexual, something very inappropriate that went on between Nora and this old ass judge, and she's very uncomfortable. And he's staring at her the whole time and give it like she ain't showing any shame about the way he's looking at her. He's just totally being like, yeah, I see you. And she's like she thought she would never see this guy again. It was a terrible moment. I felt bad for her. And so she goes storming off, and nobody really pays attention or understands what's going on at that moment. So some time passed, and then they have one of the pageant night. I guess it was like 2 parts to the pageant. And on the first night, they all come up there, and Ray rode with Lauren's mother. And Ray, she's not really being herself. She's not looking like she's feeling good. She just looking kind of tired and stuff. And she's with the mom, and she's just not herself. And even like she comes backstage and like she has like these bumps on her arm, and it's like, what the hell wrong with this girl? Why is she not looking herself? And earlier, I didn't mention it because it was just too far off. There's another a point where she wasn't feeling good before. Like all of a sudden, Ray is happy. She's not feeling good. She's tired. She's having aches and headaches and all this stuff. So it's kind of something going on with Ray. And I'm like, what the hell going on with this girl? We already got this pageant going on with all this weird stuff going on with these adults and these kids and this competition and all this backbiting going on. And then we got the main character, she has some type of sickness. Now we got this best friend, got some kind of sickness. We got another girl pulling her hair out. It's like these damn kids falling apart all around me. I'm like, it's too much going on. They don't need all these different things happening at one time. The pageant, the drama from the pageant would be enough. So at one time during the pageant, Nora and the judge, Roger Hammond, they were like backstage, and Lauren accidentally walks up on him, and he kind of had her up against the wall. He was talking in her face, and Lauren overheard him saying, you're gonna keep quiet, you're gonna be a good girl, you're not gonna cause any trouble. And she's like, yes. And I'm like, what the hell going on? And then they didn't see Lauren at first, and she comes rushing in there like she didn't know what was going on. She was like, "Hey, it's time to go. Let's go." And the old guy looked at Lauren, and Nora looked at him, and they stormed off. So he's like, "Oh, she saw something. She knows something." So he's kind of looking at her funny and stuff. I'm like, "Man, this old creep." And so they go off and start with the pageant. Laura gets Nora alone, and she's like, "What happened? What's going on with this guy? Why is he acting like that? What happened?" And Nora's like, she don't want to talk about it. She said, "It was in the past. I'm just here to win, and I need to win so I can get money or whatever." She has her reasons that she just want to let it go and put it in the past and not deal with it. And Lauren is like, okay, what can she do about that? It's pretty sad. It's very sad. I mean, yeah, I hate it. So during the competition, Lauren's best friend, Ray, is in the audience, and she's sitting next to Lauren's mom, and she's straight up sleeping. Now, this is like a big, loud audience, people cheering. She's straight up knocked out. And then Lauren's mom like, "Are you okay, Ray?" And she's like, "Oh, yeah, I'm fine. She said, "Oh, just hot in here. It's been a long day. I wasn't feeling good earlier." And she's like, "Okay." And so that happens, and she's like, "I'm fine." And clearly something wrong with this damn girl. These damn girls are dropping like flies around here. So something going on with this girl. And I'm like, okay, that's another storyline going on with this other girl. And so Lauren is on stage doing her thing and all that, and everything's going pretty good. She actually makes it to the finals, and I guess it's a 2-day event. And so she makes it to the finals of that first day. But before she leaves, Roger Hammond, the old judge guy, he catches Lauren like by herself, and he's like, "Hey, you need to keep quiet. I don't know what you know." They didn't really let us see the whole conversation, so I don't really know what they said, but it seems like it was to the point where either she said, "I'm going to keep quiet," because she went back and continued to socialize with everybody, and he went away. They didn't show the end of the conversation, but he was pretty much threatening Laura, saying keep her mouth shut if she's smart. The next thing you know, you hear some sirens in the background, and you see outside that Ray is laid out on the ground. She done went outside and passed out, and they got the ambulance calling. What the hell wrong with Ray? Her best friend is just passed out on the ground. And so we like, okay, what's going on with this girl? She gets to the hospital, and apparently Ray has meningitis B. And I'm like, okay, that's interesting. Where did this come from? It was like we had one movie going, and then all of a sudden we went into a whole different movie. So they're at the hospital. She's unconscious. They're talking about putting her into a coma to help her heal. And all of a sudden the movie just goes and it turns into a damn vaccine commercial. It was so damn weird. It was so uncomfortable. I was like, what is going on here? What is this for? I mean, they were talking about all the different symptoms of meningitis. They were talking about vaccines. If you have I'm telling you, it was like a damn prescription commercial. You know how you look at those prescription commercials and they start talking about all the side effects and all the things and all the reasons and all the causes and all the symptoms. It went on and on and on. I'm like, what am I watching here? What the hell is this, a damn vaccine commercial? It was weird. It was uncomfortable. It was uncalled for. And I understand that there's people that's in that situation that has this condition, but I don't know. It just was too much. I guess after the end of 2020, 2021, with all that vaccine pushing they did, forcing people and making people feel like they needed to get something, I just have a weird feeling when I hear a bunch of people talking about vaccine. It was ridiculous. It was unneeded. It was uncalled for, and it felt like I was being hypnotized. It didn't feel like a movie anymore. Like I said, it felt like an infomercial, and it was disgusting. It was uncomfortable, and it was unnecessary, and I really didn't like it. I did not expect it. I didn't like it. I'm like, what is this going on? I'm not talking anything bad about people that have meningitis and want to get treatment and all that stuff, but it just felt weird. It's like they was trying to brainwash me in the middle of this movie that was clearly packed with enough stuff. We didn't need another thing. We already got enough going on with all these crazy mean girl stuff happening and all the sexual crap going on with the molesting look like happening. We didn't need another thing happen. So apparently her friend is damn near dying in the hospital from meningitis B. And all they want to do is talk about vaccinations at this point. I mean, it went on and on. It was very weird. It was strange. Very, very strange. I didn't like it. I'm like, what the hell am I watching here? I thought the commercial came on. It's weird. Okay, now we go back to the real story. At this point, the pageant owner, Miss Brooks, she talks to Lauren's mom and she wants Lauren to drop out of the pageant. And she's like, why? And she said, well, one of the judges said that something went on and he doesn't feel comfortable. They tried to turn the whole thing around on Lauren as if she was going to try to get one of the judges, the one that was Roger Hammond, try to get him in trouble. And so the pageant owner, she's so worried about her image being destroyed, she came up with all these reasons and had other girls sign a paperwork saying that Lauren was blackmailing her grandson, I forget his name, the photographer guy, saying that she has an inappropriate picture of him. She was trying to use that to win the pageant. I mean, this lady had it all laid out. She was like, hey, if I want her out of the pageant, first of all, and I'll give her $10,000 if she don't talk anything about anything. So apparently the judge came to the owner and said, hey, I think this girl's going to say something, so we need to come up with a plan to protect ourselves. So they tried to give her $10,000 to get rid of her. And the mom was like, nah. And that's when the pageant owner said, well, we're going to put it out there that your daughter blackmailed one of my grandson, actually one of the employees, to try to sway the judges and all this stuff. So they had a whole plan set up. And so the mom stormed off. She confronted her daughter and said, hey, what the hell happened? Tell me everything. And so Lauren starts talking to the mom and dad about all the things that was going on, and the mom's upset. The dad's like, and she's saying, yeah, the girls, they're mean, and they torture you the whole time. They put stuff on you. They create accusations and they pressure you. It's a mean environment. It's a lot of sexual tension. She was just spilling all the beans out there. I don't think she said anything about what happened exactly with Nora and the judge, but she put everything out there. And the most useless person in the movie is probably the dad. He was like, so what are we gonna do? I'm like, dude, just leave, man. She might as well have been a single parent. It was ridiculous. This guy had no input, no impact, no nothing. He was just floundering in the background the whole time. He was not needed in the movie. Sad to say, they make dudes look so weak and so incompetent and so non-effective. The dad was like, ooh. He was dumb as shit. He just wasn't there. He was like wallpaper. It was crazy. It's like they were alone. And so at this point, they decided to show up the next day to the pageant. And they show up, and the owner and the grandson's like, what are you doing here? And they was like, we're here for the pageant. They playing like they had never had a conversation. And so some kind of way they allowed them to continue in the pageant. I don't know how they did that. They could have probably stopped them from doing that. But they continued in the pageant. And at one point, there was a speech that Lauren gave. And she talked about how she wanted to drop out of the pageant, but she was going to fight like her friend is fighting for her life. And she also talked about how the pageant is superficial and how she doesn't really want to be a part of this. And then she did this poem. It's about saying your truth, I guess. I hate that term, your truth. It sounds so fake. It sounds like an excuse to not deal with reality. But anyway, it was a poem about saying what's on your mind and letting your feelings out and exposing things and not keeping things locked in. It was one of those poems like that. And she was looking at her friend Nora, pretty much saying, hey, you need to speak about what has happened to you. It was a very empowering moment. And the judge asked her, why should you be the winner? She's like, I don't want to win. I don't want to be in this competition. And she exposed the competition, saying how disgusting it was. And she got like a standing applause. What do they call it? Anyway, she got an applause. And everybody was like, oh my God, it was so exciting. It was such a happy moment. The owner, she ended up getting, I guess, arrested. The police showed up, wanted to question her. And of course she didn't win. And so after that, everybody's cheering like, standing ovation. That's what I was trying to think of. It goes to 4 weeks later. At this point, they're in the hospital with her friend. Her friend's awake and she's talking. And apparently she lost like 2 of her fingers. And the damn vaccine commercial started again. It was all about the meningitis. It went on and on, folks. It was ridiculous. I felt embarrassed for the movie. The movie didn't need that. It didn't need the infomercial about the experimental drug that has 50,000 side effects. Man, I'm telling you, 2020 messed me up. But anyway, that went on and on and on again about getting vaccinated. It's just, I'm like, oh my God. This is not the place for this. This is a movie about a wicked pageant with mean girls and sexual misconduct, and a mother trying to spend time with her daughter, and a best friend that's getting jealous because she can't spend time with her, and it's that stuff. It's okay. Anyway, I'm over it. So that's pretty much how it ended. What else happened after that? Oh yeah, the pageant owner ended up being sued, and all the girls in the pageant that were currently in the pageant, they got a settlement. And Nora came to the hospital to visit to see her while she was there with her friend. And Nora decided to give her half of her settlement amount, which was 50 grand. Because if it wasn't for you, I would be still there and I wouldn't have gotten this settlement. So I guess she got $100,000 settlement from this pageant, which is cool. And so she gave her a check for $50,000. And so bam, she got her money for I guess some of her tuition for college. So yay, everybody wins. Her plan worked. And she showed her mom, and everybody was all happy. And the dad was nowhere to be found because he didn't need to be found because his ass wasn't around. He was irrelevant. They didn't even have to have a dad. It was ridiculous. But yeah, so, and then I think they went a year after that. She was in college and she was talking about her friend and how she always wanted to be a doctor and how she created this app to help people keep track of their health and different programs. And they didn't say it. I was like, they're gonna say vaccines again. They didn't say it again. But that app, that was cool. That ending was cool. I'm glad she was doing all that. So that was pretty much the movie, folks. It was a great movie. It wasn't, when I watch these movies, I want to see some cat fights. I want to see some physical ridiculousness. I want to see something that's corny. This movie didn't have that. It was more verbal stuff going on. It was good content other than the whole meningitis vaccine stuff that went on and on and on. Other than that, I thought it was a good movie. If I said watch this movie, because I rate on not if the movie's good or not, I rate from 1 to 10 if it's watchable. I think this movie is above average, so I'm gonna say it's a 6. And that's pretty good, because I'm pretty hard. If I go at a 5, it's like, I don't know, but a 6, that's over. That means, yeah, this movie's worth watching. It's not one of my favorites because it wasn't that fun. It was kind of sad. It wasn't fun. I like to have fun with these movies, and it's all good though. I don't mind doing a different type. I can still talk about it. I can talk about anything you want. I can talk about it. So yes, I give the movie a 6. And so I say check this movie out. Beauty Hurts. It is available, I believe, on Lifetime. I think this is a Lifetime movie. So check it out, folks, and I will see you on the next one.